everybody?
Hello.
Welcome to a fun episode of Movie Boners.
Yeah.
It's been a while since we've done an episode like this, I was going to say, because I did not realize, I think the last one that we did a director's deep dive was John Carpenter in Halloween 2003.
Holy cow. Really?
I think it's 2003, yeah. So, we're overdue. Well, I could be wrong, but I'm pretty sure I'm right.
I think you are. I just can't believe time went by that fast. Wow. No, I think you're right. That's what I meant.
I am right. Thank you.
I don't think you're wrong.
Yeah, so we're getting into the great... What are we doing? Who are we doing? Guy Ritchie. We're doing Guy Ritchie. I was reading a bunch of names on my piece of digital paper here and couldn't remember what we were doing or why we were doing it. But we're here to talk about...
None of them say Guy Ritchie's. We're in trouble.
I'm here to talk about the great Guy Ritchie and how he has a very interesting and illustrious career. And he works a lot. He's done a lot of shit, especially lately. It seems like he always has a movie coming out. Or show.
Yeah.
Or whatever.
I can't remember what I was about to say.
Good contribution. Yeah. Well, okay. Moving on.
Shut your face.
Before we do that, let's get into the movie draft. Okay.
This is the most awkward start to an episode we've ever done.
It'll be fine. So, a couple of interesting, important things have happened recently. The first being, you did cross the $1 billion mark 7 months into the year. Good for you. I'm at $2.5 billion, so still a ways to go.
So dumb.
But
It's so
Superman. Superman came out the day we're recording this, and I think that is going to be pretty large for you. Although I think it could end up being an asterisk on Superman, because I think that I've already been seeing review sites are mass deleting bad reviews. Obviously, there are fans who are unhappy with the reboot and WB mishandling of Snyder's universe. But I think whenever sites try to correct for review bombs, there's always genuine reviews from actual reviewers that get removed as well. So you get an artificially buoyed rating, I think.
Feel like you're only saying that because Superman is actually coming out to be pretty positive at the moment, and I think it's you.
I think it's the biggest Thursday and Friday opening of the year so far.
Mm-hmm.
So it should be pretty big. This is coming on the back of Jurassic World Rebirth being very mediocre, being actually the worst rated movie that we've drafted this year, not counting Until Dawn, which was on my bench, so we're not going to count it. But it's 7.2 on IMDb. Still seems like it could track for near $1 billion, but I don't know if it has the legs, considering people are kind of fed up with Dominion, and it seems very similar to Dominion's rankings. Jurassic World Dominion had a 29% critic rating, a 77% audience rating, and a 5.6 on IMDb. So Rebirth is a little better at a 6.2, 52% and 71%, but the audience rating being down kind of tells me something, I think. Slightly better. And then, let's see, what else happened recently? I guess best original movie of the year since Sinners, F1, still going strong.
Yeah, F1 kind of came out of left field with that one.
Yeah,
but
7.9 still on IMDb.
I think it's going to suffer for the next 3 weeks. Potentially 4 weeks.
There's probably a big drop-off with Jurassic World and Superman and Fantastic Four all happening. Speaking of bad timings, you drafted I Know What You Did Last Summer on your bench. That has to be the worst release timing ever between Superman and Fantastic Four.
I completely forgot that it was coming out in between Superman and Fantastic. It didn't even cross my mind. I saw the poster for it because I did go and see Superman, and I saw the poster for it, and I had to stop and was like, "That comes out next week? Okay, well, that movie's not going to make anything. Cool."
I had to laugh to myself because I think of the two requels, you drafted the worst one with I Know What You Did Last Summer, when probably should have been Final Destination, which did pretty well.
Yeah.
I drafted the worst video game movie with Until Dawn, when it obviously should have been Minecraft. So we don't know what we're doing.
all.
Pixar doesn't know what they're doing. Elio was bombed hard. It's their worst movie ever in the
Yeah.
box office.
Yeah. Well, I mean, when you're not advertising movie, I never saw, I think I ended up seeing like one trailer for it. Didn't see anything else for it. It just kind of came out and went away.
Mm-hmm.
My daughter saw it and she was like, no, it's actually really cute. It's like, oh yeah? She's like, yeah, but I think she already forgot that it exists. So yeah, I was like, wow, what happened to Pixar?
Yeah.
You would have figured coming off the heels of Inside Out 2, they would have had a little more excitement, but, well...
They're blaming audiences. They're saying, well, you keep asking for original movies and then you don't go see them, which is partly fair, but...
That's partly fair.
Yeah. Yeah. People are going to see Sinners and F1, and that's about it. On the original movie list that I'm looking at, they did see Mickey 17, and that's the only other original one that we had. Or Friendship, but it was barely in theaters.
Yeah. That's hilarious.
So yeah, you're definitely in your catch-up era now, because I don't have another movie coming out until Nobody in August, and then nothing until October. Tron Ares in October, so you catch up for sure. IMDb rating, I guess I'm behind, so that doesn't really count. But box office, you're on your way. You're finally over zero. It's pretty funny. You were below zero pretty much the entire year. You jumped up because you had, what was it? How to Train Your Dragon come out. And then immediately 28 years later came out and tanked your Rotten Tomatoes with a minus 25%. And so that puts you back at the bottom.
Nice.
But maybe it'll work out in the end. So yeah.
Come on.
What new things have you seen lately?
Well, I felt bad for not having seen like new things the last time we recorded. And so I had to do my let's make up for that and Overwatch new things. So I've got a bunch.
Cool.
All right. Well, let's start off strong. I finally did watch Sinners.
Okay.
And I think that's the most overrated pile of crap I've seen since Black Panther.
When you said start strong, I thought you meant it was going to be great.
No, Sinners was overrated. What a 2.5 hour waste of time. The vampires suck. There's random singing that was a cool idea. I'm sure it was a great idea on paper, but the execution I was just not a fan of. And man, I really just am not a Michael B. Jordan fan, period. And to have to watch two of him, and people were like, he does amazing acting in this movie. No, he plays Michael B. Jordan, the same guy, twice.
That you're used to.
The movie sucks. I just shook my head. I was like, okay, so people are only loving it so that they don't get called racist. Well, as just a movie fan, the movie sucks. I'd rather watch From Dusk Till Dawn or really any vampire movie that knows what they're doing.
Interesting.
So, yeah, I did not like it.
Hot take for sure.
It looks cool. Like the cinematography is fantastic. I will give it that credit.
Yeah.
But it's just not worth the 2.5 hour like bore fest that it was for me. So, and if you're hoping to see a lot of Haley Steinfeld or whatever her name is, she has a minimum amount of screen time, so I'm not quite sure why they made such a big deal that she was in it. Yeah. She is probably the best part of the movie, but her and the lead vampire, but Sinners.
Yeah, she seemed like the main female lead in the movie.
She's got like 5 scenes. I don't know. I think her screen time is less than 5 minutes, so.
Interesting.
Yeah, not a fan. Not a fan at all.
It's a weird thing that Ryan Coogler's movies get this huge push or bump from word of mouth, and both from film critics, but also I think just average people seem to go crazy for it.
Yeah.
And we said that about Black Panther. It's like, it's fine, but it's not what everybody's saying it is.
Yeah, like Sinners wasn't for me. I get that a lot of people loved it. Cool. But the hype that it had is like, okay, so it's just...
Do you think it was just overhyped and your expectations were too high?
I think so. I think so.
If you saw it opening weekend, you might feel differently.
I'm really not going to revisit it. Just, I don't care to watch a movie that's obsessed with voodoo stuff, so I just don't care about it.
Okay.
And then I watched Minecraft because I had to figure it out.
Did you do a chicken jockey screening?
No, but I needed to understand Chicken Jockey. I still don't understand Chicken Jockey.
It strikes me as the kind of thing that can't be understood.
Yeah, I don't think you can. My daughter still laughs. She's like, Dad, there's no explanation. It's just a thing that happened. I'm like, for whatever reason, I got stuck on needing to understand it. But I will say Minecraft is super funny, very entertaining because it is so stupid. It might be the dumbest movie I've ever seen. And that's the strength.
Okay, that's fair.
And now people are like, he hated Sinners but liked Minecraft? Yes, because Minecraft knew what it was and was entertaining. Sinners tried to be all these different things and sucked. Yeah, Minecraft was great. Jake, I think you would actually get a big kick out of it, and I know that your son would love it.
It's fun.
And then I watched a movie with Mel Gibson called Monster Summer.
Never even heard of this one.
Yeah, it came out last year or earlier this year, one of the two. It's about a group of kids who realize that there's a witch taking kids' souls in their tiny little island town. And Mel Gibson plays the retired police detective that joins them on the case. It is a movie made for families to be kind of like a new family Halloween film. It's not great, but it was entertaining, and it was nice to see a movie that was like, maybe we get back to some fun, just like childish kind of film. So it was entertaining. It wasn't bad. And then I watched Jurassic World Rebirth.
Okay, here we go.
I think that's the actual title.
Yeah.
Yeah, highly entertaining. I will tell you that. Highly entertaining. The mutant dinosaurs, two of the mutant dinosaurs, my daughter and I were not fans of the design because they just look really wonky, and it kind of took us out of it.
Mutants are always wonky looking.
Oh, well, this was like not great wonkiness. This was like, I mean, you've seen the D-Rex, as they've called it, the big monster T-Rex mutant thing that's in it. It looks exactly... Yeah, it's the Rancor from Star Wars. It just is. That was the most disappointing part of the movie, but it's actually really entertaining if you just watch it, just to watch a team of people get killed. Yeah, it wasn't bad. I liked it way more than I liked Dominion. I don't know how Dominion can have a higher rating, because this one, from what other people have said and what my daughter and I felt, this one was far superior to it. Yeah. And then I watched a movie called Risen from like 2013 or something like that. It's from the perspective of a Roman soldier trying to investigate the resurrection of Jesus. So it's a really interesting kind of take and telling of that part of the story.
Have Ralph Fiennes,
Joseph Fiennes.
Yeah.
It was really interesting. It was actually, I think, really well done. And yeah, I really liked that one.
All right.
And then last but not least, I saw Superman. Of course I was going to see Superman. Come on.
Yeah, you gotta go right away, because I imagine there are a lot of cameos and things that are going to be spoiled immediately.
Not near as much as I thought there was going to be.
Okay.
Like, kind of shocking. I was expecting, Marvel style stuff, but at least in terms of that, but there really wasn't that much. So I had to do something, because leading up to Superman, I kind of got really sick and tired of our own fan base being the Snyder core, right? Or whatever Snyder fans are being called these days. Okay. We got to stop with the Snyderverse coming back. It's not. And with this release, it's really not. So it's time. It's past time. Lay it to rest. Even Snyder has moved on to, like, he doesn't even care. He doesn't even want to do superhero movies anymore. Lay it to rest. Is it a different Superman? Yes. Is it a weaker Superman? 100%, and that's my biggest problem with this one. Is
like physically weaker,
yes.
or story wise?
No, he is physically weak, and that was a little weird for me to watch Superman get beat up for 2 hours. He gets beat up pretty much the whole movie.
I mean, he gets beat up a lot by Zod in the first, like in Man of Steel.
Yeah, but he puts up an equal fight. This one, he gets
like
beat down
matched.
a lot.
Okay.
I liked it, though, because it is a total callback to the Christopher Reeve style.
Mm-hmm.
And I actually found myself very entertained by it. It is probably the most comic booky superhero movie I've ever seen. Like, I'm going to give James Gunn some credit here because it really did feel like he threw a comic book at the screen and said, deal with it. Like, Green Lantern, the Corps all get mentioned. Hawk Girl is just kind of, everyone that gets introduced, the audience is just assumed, like, you will accept that they exist in this world. They have existed in this world. Deal with it. You're like, okay.
In the middle. Yeah.
It's not, I don't think it was amazing. It has some really cool parts. There are a couple shots, though, of Superman, like in the air, doing a Superman style pose that I felt. Those were the moments I was like, yep, there he is. There's Superman. Okay. All right. It's entertaining. It's entertaining. If you go into it just wanting the entertainment to see a Christopher Reeve-esque Superman and knowing that it's going to be polar opposite from the Snyderverse, you're going to enjoy it. If you go into it already kind of like, I hate James Gunn and I hate this new Superman simply just because it's not the Snyderverse, you will despise every frame of this movie. But I liked it. I did.
Okay.
It was so comic booky that I was just like, yeah, I've made my peace. We have the Snyder cut of Justice League. That's good. Lay it to rest, guys. So to the Snyder cult out there, shut up and just go enjoy a movie.
You're turning in your membership card.
Well, I mean, you kind of have to at this point because you brought it up that like they're now just actively going and attacking, like review bombing the movie. It was funny. I saw a couple things online of some of the review bombs. People are like already putting the movie out to spoil everything, but in like a look how stupid all of this is. And it was so annoying that I really was like, man, you guys are kind of ruining the fun of a superhero movie.
Right.
And that's a bummer because this one actually has a lot to offer and this will make people cringe, but you're over it. Crypto is the best part of this movie.
Really?
Crypto rocks.
I've been at like 85% sure that I was going to be annoyed to death by Crypto and also how the CG and like fisheye lens they chooses to use looks. I haven't.
Yeah, you won't like that part, Jake. You won't.
Okay.
They don't overdo it. They do it a few times. But Crypto doesn't do a lot to annoy you. And it's not like the whole movie focuses on him. But the way they use him and the comedy, because a lot of the comedy comes from Crypto, actually. I liked Crypto.
Okay.
He's a dog that can fly and fight. And that's exactly what he does in this movie. So.
Okay. Accurate, at least.
I enjoyed it. Like, if you go into it just making your peace that the Snyderverse is dead and gone, move on with your life. I think you'll find stuff to enjoy in it. It does feel very Marvel-y, but I think that's not so much just because it's James Gunn doing DC now. But I think it's because we have so much Marvel that any superhero movie moving forward is just going to feel Marvel.
Yeah.
So.
Unless it takes a hard stance as trying to be really different, like the Batman or something like that.
Right. Or the Clayface movie, which is supposed to come out, and that's supposed to be R-rated. And I guess Gunn has already come out and been like, him and David Cornyn Sweat have both said his Superman the way that they're approaching this new universe, the movie should stand alone, and yet the characters should all be able to share. So Superman could end up in R-rated stories such as Clayface, which obviously will have to include Batman. So it kind of makes me wonder if maybe not the first Batman movie they release in this universe, but maybe the second one they release could potentially be an R-rated Batman film, which would be interesting. So
it definitely would. I would be very interested in that. I'm way more interested in the Clayface movie than I am in Superman. But I'm not the biggest Superman fan. Like, I liked Man of Steel and all of that stuff, but I haven't really followed any of the comics, so I'm more interested in the Green Lantern stuff that they're doing in Superman.
It was kind of fun when they mentioned the Corps. They only mentioned the Green Lantern Corps once, but the fact that Guy Gardner is like, he's a pretty prominent character in Superman. It made me chuckle because I was like, I think some audiences don't realize how big they just established the DCU with just the mention of the Green Lantern Corps. Like, that's...
Right.
They just included the entire universe, so that should be interesting.
Yeah, absolutely. Off the bat.
But, yep.
All right.
So that's what I watched.
Good updates. I have not watched any new movies, mostly because I had to watch a few new Guy Ritchie movies that I had not gotten around to before. And then also, we're prepping for a really fun and really big, other artist deep dive coming up soon. But I did watch some TV stuff. So I watched I think about half actually, of Squid Game season 3. On Netflix.
Still have to see season 2.
Yeah, it's good. It's definitely good. We had to take a break about halfway through because it is pretty brutal, especially for mothers out there at one point. But still very good, very intriguing. I think everything fans want. If you like Squid Game season 1 and season 2, you'll like season 3 as far as I've watched it so far. And then we just watched this other show, I think it's on Prime, called The Better Sister, as Jessica Biel and Elizabeth Banks, who basically plays her drug addict, alcoholic sister, who she has a daughter. Elizabeth Banks, as this drunk, has a kid. And then her sister, that's why I was thinking of daughter, her sister, Jessica Biel, takes him to raise him and actually ends up marrying like her ex-husband. And so...
Awkward.
And then becomes like super rich as this like CEO of this magazine or whatever. And so it's like they're in two completely different lives basically. But then Jessica Biel's husband, her sister's ex-husband, gets murdered. And so they have to kind of come back together and have their worlds collide and reconvene. Now this kid has 2 moms and one that was absent but trying to be a mom. And I think it does a really good job of them feeling like authentic sisters and quarreling and stuff. It's a little funny, just the conflict of classes and personalities, but mostly it's just a murder mystery crime show that's pretty good. About almost 2/3 of the way through, I like it quite a bit. It's pretty good. And that's all for me.
After my giant list, you're like, I have one thing that I haven't even finished.
2 things, Squid Game, but I also didn't
2 things that I haven't even finished.
Yeah.
I like it.
So, yeah. So we're doing, well, I guess I'll tease next episode. Next episode, which we've already recorded, which was very, very fun, we had our good buddy, one of our favorite people on the planet, James from I Was a Teenage Film Snob, came and joined us to talk about a lot of different things, but mostly about movie critics and reviews and review bombs and rating systems and how everybody's a critic now and all kinds of different stuff. So we got really deep in it. That was really fun. Excited for you to hear that next time.
Yeah, I think that was probably one of my favorite conversations that we've had on the show. That was a really cool, very fun conversation to have with him.
Yeah, some fun tangents as well. He's great at that. And then, like I mentioned, we watched a bunch of Guy Ritchie movies for this. We've been prepping another huge deep dive for right after the James episode. We're doing a deep dive into Robin Williams, his illustrious and unfortunately short career, because we lost him 11 years ago, August 11th. And so thought it would be good to revisit, and I have made promises of watching a bunch of movies that you've put on lists in the past and not gotten around to it, and Death to Smoochie among others, and so I will have finally kept my promise, and that's good too.
I like it. Yeah, it's kind of amazing how big of a career Williams had, actually. that's a lot of movies. So it's been trying to
Yeah.
get as much watched as possible. It's been a bit. Yeah.
No, but today we're talking about Guy Ritchie, and actually this was partially, I would say mostly, mentioned from a listener. So Tyler on Instagram, Tvan EIGN, I don't know how you say it, reached out, and he said that he's loved our deep dives, especially the director's deep dives, liked all of them. We've done Tarantino, M. Night Shyamalan, Kevin Smith, Peter Jackson, and like I said before, JC, John Carpenter. I think that's all we've done. But, and this was before we did our top 10 directors list. He said, it'd be cool if you did a Guy Ritchie episode. I said, absolutely, we will do that. And so here we are doing
a Guy Ritchie
right
episode.
Now. Yeah, and I think Guy Ritchie is really interesting because as I was watching his movies, and I had to watch some new ones, like I mentioned, that I hadn't seen before, and I also watched his original short film that he did before Snatch that kind of got him Lock, Stock, and Two Smoking Barrels, that kind of got him approval funding to be able to make Lock, Stock.
Oh, cool.
And but I feel like his general arc is very similar to M. Night Shyamalan's in the sense that he had two huge successes right off the bat and then kind of flew too close to the sun that a lot of people, I think, wanted him to fail or didn't think he deserved that much credit that fast. And then also, where do you go from there after you make Lock, Stock, and Snatch?
I feel like it took a while for him to hit that critical acclaim again, and he had to do it with going, with the coattails of Robert Downey Jr. and a beloved classic detective.
Mm-hmm.
But he had a real, I think it's still considered one of the all-time worst movies ever made. I think it's only at like a 2.4 or maybe a 3.5 IMDb. I think it gets put in that category of why couples probably shouldn't make movies together.
Yeah.
And then he did one that like no one's even heard of. And then another one that if you have seen it and heard of it, it's actually really cool, but it just didn't have the gusto, I feel.
Yeah.
I felt bad because I got caught up in rewatching the older stuff and did not have time to watch a few of the newer ones that I really wanted to watch. And then I was a little weary on his most recent movie when I started seeing what people were saying about that one and was like, oh no, what happened? But
talking about Fountain of Youth from this year. Yeah, that's the only one I didn't get it around to. I had it on the list, but I did see that people are like, this is not good.
But he's had an interesting career. I think it's funny that you compared him to Knight with just the way that the career went or has gone. I think it's really interesting how he, for the most part, has really stuck to his guns on his style.
Yeah.
Of how he's going to tell the story. Because I know certain, like, extreme style or stylized directors, audiences kind of get tired of it. But for some reason, Guy Ritchie has managed to stick with it and get away with it. As a fan, I'm glad because I actually really like his style. It's one of those few that I'm thankful for because it makes his movies stand out a little bit more to me. But he's fun. He's a lot of fun.
I've seen a lot of people online describe his career as being very up and down, that he'll have some great ones and then he'll have another one that comes out. You're like, why did you make that movie? What even is that movie? And I think much like you could compare them to M. Night kind of has hit or miss or fickle fans, I guess, that either like it or don't like it. But then the other director that it seemed very much like, and you kind of mentioned it with the style thing, is Zack Snyder.
Yeah.
That he has, and I mentioned this in the top 10 directors episode, that the slow motion, the extreme stylized nature of it, I think he has a lot aligned with Zack Snyder. Although unlike Zack Snyder's never had a major studio blockbuster like Aladdin. And some other, or made a much more straight-laced war movie like The Covenant. Like there's movies that he's done that are also, I don't know, separated himself from his usual style and also still done well with it, which is interesting. So yeah, Let's get into it. So we got, I think, 12 movies generally to go through. I don't know that we'll talk in depth about all of them because there are a couple that we haven't watched fully. Fountain of Youth for me mostly.
There's a lot of movies. I feel like we probably can't go super deep into it, but we'll do what we can. You watched the short film that got him the funding. Yeah. I have not seen his little short film.
I had to find it streaming online, so it's called The Hard Case. Okay. And it came out, was it 1995, I think? And it's kind of hard to find online because if you try to watch it on YouTube, it has all the music cut out of it, and which also cuts out a bunch of the dialogue and stuff. I found it on OK.ru fully intact. Pretty sure it's a Russian website. Don't worry about it. I'm sure it's fine. But it's pretty much a distilled version of Lock, Stock, and Two Smoking Barrels. Like, it's just everything cut down to 25 minutes, and it's same sort of story, same sort of style, same sort of everything. It feels like Lock, Stock just in a 25-minute version. Which is pretty cool, and it's cool that he was able to show it to Channel 4 and get financial backers and fund a full-length movie, and it's why he was able to get Sting into Lock, Stock, because he saw it and was like, this is impressive. I want to be in this movie. And yeah. So I would recommend, if you're a Guy Ritchie fan, it's a fun little piece of history to check out if you can find it. And then I think it's also part of why not only did they make Lock, Stock, and Two Smoking Barrels the feature, but then they made a 7-episode TV spinoff in 2000 just called Lock, Stock. And I haven't watched that, but I wanted to. And it's kind of fun because each episode title fills in the last part of Lock, Stock, and this, Lock, Stock, and that. And so it seems like fun. It seems like the same sort of continuation of, it's a new cast of characters, but they all comedically fail at various criminal business ventures.
I didn't know they turned it into a show. I'm looking it up right now because how do you turn this into a show?
Yeah, it's just like a Channel 4 BBC. I don't know if it's BBC. People in England will probably get mad at me for saying that. It's probably not BBC, but I'm pretty sure their government runs all the TV channels anyway.
It kind of looks like they tried to do it with Snatch as well.
Oh, really? I wouldn't be surprised.
So
Snatch
he's had
a huge hit.
That would be 3 of his movies then have been attempted to turn into series, because The Gentleman as well got turned into.
The Gentleman, yeah.
Which I've had a lot of people tell me that it's actually really good. I can't bring myself to watch it.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Any reason?
I like the movie too much, and it's just one of those things where I'm like, I know the show's not going to do what I want it to do because the movie is so good, and I'll hold a grudge against it, so I just choose not to.
That's fair. I've also heard it's very good, but I have a weird thing where I don't love that main actor, Theo James. I don't know, there's something about his demeanor. I'm like, I don't care for you. Sorry, Theo James, if you're listening, but it's one of those things.
It's okay. I've trashed on Michael B. Jordan constantly.
That's true.
So
it's true. At least I'm not racist.
Whoa! Whoa!
Someone was going to say it. I felt like somebody had to.
I know. It's not true, but, you know.
It's not true. For the record,
it's not true at all.
And if they ever make that Rainbow Six movie, which they've talked about doing, I will be very upset because I really did not care for his the prequel to that, where he plays the guy from that one Tom Clancy book.
That movie sucked too.
Yeah, Without Remorse, I think. Was it Without Remorse?
Yeah. That was a weird time. Do you remember? Because we both watched that one, and there was that like random.
Yeah, that
was it a firefighter movie with Angelina Jolie?
Yeah, because my dumbass was on like a Yellowstone high, and I was like, we need to watch these 2 movies because Taylor Sheridan wrote them and they're going to be amazing.
That's
and both of them sucked ass. I was like, I'm so sorry. This is not like Sicario, and this is not like any of these good movies. Oh well. So yeah, but enough about that.
Right.
Lock, Stock, and Two Smoking Barrels. How good is that movie?
Dude. It's true, man. I don't know. I still think I go back and forth on if I like Lock, Stock more or Snatch more because they're both so awesome. I will say they both have my favorite culmination. Like, there is something with Guy Ritchie's writing when he brings his chaos, when he finally, like, brings it all together. Man, he's like a master at doing that, especially with his first two out the gate. Lockstock is hilarious and just a ridiculous 2-hour, like, everything falls apart. If it can go wrong, it goes wrong. And it's great to watch. I think my favorite thing about it is it's like a wannabe heist movie that fails at every chance of being a heist movie. And the funniest bits are when it becomes so simple. Like, you just happen to have the guns. I'm just going to take them. That's, like, that.
Yeah. I think it evolves in such an original way that you haven't really seen in a movie like that before, whether it's a crime action movie or whatever.
It's so funny. Love Lockstock. I didn't see it first. I saw Snatch first, and then as soon as people were like, well, if you like Snatch, you're going to like Lockstock. It's kind of they go hand in hand. You just have to like them both, and it's true. You really do.
Yeah, I think Snatch was so huge, especially like around the time we were in high school, and everybody was like, you have to see Snatch, you have to see Boondock Saints, you have to see all these movies. It was just like on the list. And for a good reason, it was well worth it. And I think with Lockstock, he does such a good job of, I saw a Screen Rant article where they noted that early on, he just did such a good job of casting first-time actors that fit the part so well. And he would cast criminals that are not actors just because they were imposing or menacing or whatever. And Jason Statham has mentioned his name a lot this episode. He's been in a lot of Guy Ritchie movies. He's kind of like his guy.
Yeah.
But he actually did sell fake jewelry on the street in his own life. And so for him to be the opening, Bacon to be the opening of Lockstock, is just establishes this authenticity that I think you can feel. I think Lockstock is a much more raw kind of movie. I definitely like both of them. I think I prefer Snatch's polish a little bit more, but Lockstock's authenticity is so, I don't know, and indie and cool that it definitely works so well.
I get a big kick out of how grainy and old it looks. It's not actually, I mean, I guess technically it's like, because it came out in 98. So it's almost 30 years old. But even when it came out, I mean, it still looked like it was 30 years old. I like that. I like how low budget it feels. I like the graininess that it's got. I think it adds to just the story itself. I'm kind of glad Lockstock has never gotten polished or whatever.
Yeah.
I think that would take away some of the joy of watching it, but it's such a random movie. It's so freaking funny. And I think it's interesting how Guy Ritchie really does use the same handful of guys in the majority of his career. Jason Statham being kind of the dude. Rewatching Lockstock makes me always, like this one and Snatch, always makes me go, man, I think Jason Statham needs to do more movies like this. Like, step out of the action dude, step away from the beefy, I'm Jason Statham. I'm part of the Fast and Furious franchise kind of style. And like go back to the British dry humor, because he's so good at it. He's actually really good.
He'd be a phenomenal character actor, just like a different weird henchman or like buddy in the group kind of guy. Not like the lead action star kind of. He's great at that, but I think that he even excels more as someone who's kind of more removed, more in the background, able to be a little bit different or silly.
I think he's very entertaining, and he does kind of take like he kind of steals almost every scene that he's in, because you're just like, he's such a spaz all the time.
Right.
And I like the early Jason Statham. And I think Guy Ritchie pulls performances out of him that are really cool. I know his stuff has gotten a little more serious as of late, but yeah, there's something about those early performances. You brought up the casting. I think the casting is hilarious because you don't know like anyone except Vinnie Jones, who used to play soccer, right? That sounds right. And he's fantastic in this as well.
Yeah.
Him as this like dad who has such a love for his son, but he's taking his son out to go and, you know, beat people down or kill guys to pay off game bosses. It's I love all of the random juxtaposition and the way Guy Ritchie put this story together is such a joy. The poker game at the start, the shoot moment where he just gets up from the table and just walks away. Love that. I don't know.
I do too. It's just such a, you don't expect that kind of ending to this high stakes poker game. He's like, well, okay, I screwed that up.
Like, I owe you $500,000 all of a sudden. I'm just gonna see myself out the door.
Yeah, I guess I have to go tell my mates now.
It's just, I don't know if this is true, but it feels like Guy Ritchie spent a lot of time watching a lot of different heist movies and found himself thinking, what if we did one that does not go as planned? Or what if we also added all of the characters are so dumb that they're all just, they like on this revolving, we're going to rob from each other who we're all working for. The whole thing with the pot and the Afro dude, it cracks me up so much. Like, steal his own weed. It's just so good.
I love the shootout scene, especially where they're like have the cage. They're stuck in the cage at first, and it's just something about just the weapons that they bring to them, and they all are just like this random assortment of maybe post-World War II, like military surplus kind of guns that they just happen to have. And random shotguns, random a BB gun, like basically literally a BB
air gun is the best bit.
It's just, it feels so, how are you able to continue to be a criminal if you're just barely getting lucky scraping by? It's so fun.
Yeah, I like the idea of just dumb criminals thinking that they're like big bosses, but they're really not. I love the leader of the one gang that gets caught in the cage because he tries to come off as such a menacing evil dude, and he does shoot a guy's foot off, but that's the most crime bossy thing he does, other than he tries to kill another guy and it doesn't go well for him. And it's just, I love the absurdity of it. And yeah, I think that's where Guy Ritchie's brilliance, at least early on in his career, really came forward, is in a time where sleek movies, like sleek action movies, were starting to become a thing. Here comes Guy Ritchie with, I'm just going to make a movie full of morons and you'll enjoy it.
Yeah, it's not sleek at all. It's very obtuse.
Of course, then Snatch, dude.
Yeah. Snatch is so cool because it really just doubles down on everything that Lock, Stock did well.
Yeah. And he does polish. I mean, it's a clean movie. That, like, it looks clean. His transitions are pretty much flawless. That kind of jump is incredible. To go from that low budget, grainy Lock, Stock, and then Snatch comes out, and you've got huge names.
Right.
Like, and a lot of them.
Yeah. Yeah. Brad Pitt's got to be near his peak, and Benicio del Toro's been in everything by this point. It's fun to see Vinnie Jones come back, and of course, Jason Statham.
Naturally. Before the Germans come back.
Goes without saying.
I can never actually focus on what gag or character is my favorite in Snatch. It always changes almost every time that I watch the movie.
Yeah.
But I think one of the most constant ones that is always there for me is Boris the Blade. the best part with him is after he's been ran over and they're at his house and he comes walking, like just swearing up a storm under his breath, kicks the door in, storms inside, comes back out with the machine gun and just continues on his way to go and, get his revenge. That might be my favorite. Like, no interaction with the guys that are there, just in and out. One of the best parts.
Yeah, that car chase and crash and just the way it's cut together, and you kind of realize as things go on what's happening, is such an interesting way to tell the story. It's a very unique editing choice, and that's partly what I love from Guy Ritchie is his editing, not just the quick pace like cuts and things and montages, which he's phenomenal at, or the slow-mo speed ramp, like fast slow stuff, but the out of order cutting of things, of going back and forth. Like, you see this thing, oh, it's interesting and weird and I don't really know what's going on, and then you go back and you see little pieces fall into place, and it is kind of that chaos that you mentioned, that it starts to fall into place in a way that is really fun. You don't feel really lost, and you feel like you're just along for the ride, which is great.
Yeah, I feel like when I watch his movies, like when I watch these two, even when he did the two Sherlock Holmes movies, and then even with like Ministry or Man from U.N.C.L.E, when he's piecing everything in that like out of order style, you never feel like you're trying to figure it out. You're literally just watching it go. And then when you start seeing him piece it together, that's when you're like, and it just seems to like elevate the enjoyability of his movies. Yeah, I love his style. I love that out of order. It's similar to like Quentin Tarantino in a way where he doesn't worry so much about the linear storytelling. He's going to do his own thing. But Ritchie's is just, it's so unique. And it's really like his own stamp. I don't know if I've seen someone else try to do it. Well, except for like in Layer Cake, which he was supposed to direct, but then he couldn't, which makes sense because the guy that took over for him still filmed it like it was a Guy Ritchie film, which is why Layer Cake feels so...
Yeah.
Are we sure Guy Ritchie did not make this movie?
I think that was Matthew Vaughn, right? Matthew Vaughn's worked with, and he's worked with Guy Ritchie on a bunch of stuff, and so I feel like they were collaborators and definitely aligned on what it should be.
Yeah.
It's like a bonus entry. Yeah, I think everybody remembers, or at least Snatch stands out for them because of Brad Pitt's crazy character. That's, I think a lot of people would say that's their favorite part, and I would understand why, because it's so fun. Even though you have no idea what he's saying most of the time when you first watch it, maybe the first few times you watch it, that him as this boxer, is like a gypsy boxer, it's just one of the funnest performances I've ever seen him do.
Yeah, I think American audiences really focus on Brad Pitt because it's Brad Pitt.
Right.
And it is awesome. I know when I was younger, he was my favorite part for the longest time. As I've gotten older, he just adds to how much fun that movie is. To me, I get a big kick out of Benicio del Toro's character. But I also get a huge kick out of, I can't ever remember the actor's name, Dennis Farina, as the dude from Vegas who's like trying to tell Benicio del Toro's character, don't go gambling after you get the diamond. Like, don't. He keeps just trying. He spends the whole movie trying to get this diamond, but his character is so funny to me because he reminds me of that actor's character from Get Shorty, but not as crime bossy. And I love it. How hilarious is the dog that swallows the squeak toy?
Yeah. I was cracking up at that scene. I didn't even remember it when I rewatched it.
And the random, when they try to like, I'm going to shoot the dog, and they end up shooting each other. And like,
yeah, it just keeps falling apart as this dog's running around and jumping out the window and stuff.
His, like, so many other, I guess, action. It's hard to say that Guy Ritchie is like a action director. I mean, he is, but it's a unique style of action. You know, some other directors are known for their spurts of extreme violence. Guy Ritchie, especially in Snatch, has these like spurts of just stupidity, and there happens to be guns involved.
Yeah,
cracks me up so much. All over that diamond.
Yeah, it's. I feel like it's a good choice following up Lock, Stock with another crime. Like, it's not really a heist movie either, but it is trying to locate this stolen diamond. This is great.
Yeah, it's not a heist movie. It's just I guess you could kind of call it that way because everyone's trying to rob it from everybody.
Yeah.
But it's just a nice
It's a mutual thievery movie.
yeah, and everyone's an idiot. So
Yeah. Yeah. Snatch is so fun. I feel like I put it so high up. Maybe it's hard. I was trying to figure out which of his movies, of all of his movies, is my favorite. Snatch is top 3, but I haven't been able to narrow it down more than that yet, really.
you almost feel bad when you try to be like, I'm going to rank his movies of my favorites. Like, there's a few that you're like, that doesn't even come near the list.
Yeah.
But his great movies, like, for me, I feel weird. I'm with you on that one. I don't know if I'm, as a movie fan and as a Guy Ritchie fan, like, do I rank Lock, Stock higher than Snatch, or does Snatch just actually take the top cake because it's Snatch and that movie is
Right.
pretty good?
Yeah. Yeah. I feel like you have to weigh, do you get more credit for being first and doing it earlier, or do you get more credit for doing it later but doing it better? And I feel like Snatch is definitely that he obviously learned a lot and improved a lot in a short period of time, 2 years after. And that is very, very impressive.
I think Snatch deserves a high ranking just on, it has really stood on like the same firm 2 feet since it released. It's weird when I hear people say they don't like Snatch. It's kind of one of those like, really? Like, what didn't you like about it? Because it's pretty great.
Yeah.
Was it the F-bombs? I can get that, but movies have more than that one, so...
You have to just really not be into crime, violent kind of movies.
Which is maybe why he made Swept Away, which I didn't watch.
You didn't watch Swept Away?
No.
Oh my gosh. I did watch it.
Oh
because
my
I had never
gosh.
seen
I
it.
was like, there's no way Jake actually sits down to watch this movie.
I had to, because I felt like it was, in order to really get the breadth of his experience and accomplishments and see the highs and lows, you have to experience all of it. And sorry, I'm getting choked up because it was so moving. I took a lot of notes around Swept Away, so please pause while I talk about this for a while. Swept Away is weird. It's so weird that he made this movie. It's honestly, okay, I've talked about White Lotus on this show and how much it's boring and nothing really happens, but people seem obsessed with watching these people on vacation. Swept Away is what White Lotus is like, just without an exciting hook at the beginning. If you watch like 10 minutes, if you started White Lotus 10 minutes in, and that's basically what the first half at least of this movie is like. And so it stars Madonna. You mentioned before that Guy Ritchie was married to Madonna at the time that they made it, and are not anymore, probably for several related reasons. And it's a weird movie, I feel like, to make with your wife, for one thing, because do you know anything about Swept Away? Like the story?
They get stranded on an island, don't they?
Yeah.
Okay.
So she's rich. She's, who's her husband? Hold on. It's a guy you know. He's in all kinds of stuff. American actor. She's American, married to Bruce Greenwood, character. Elizabeth Banks has a really small role in it, which is kind of funny. But they're all like rich and on this yacht and on vacation. And then there's a guy who works on the yacht named Giuseppe, and he is just a blue-collar guy working on the boat and gets very annoyed by how bossy and bitchy Madonna is, and she's just very bratty, I guess, the whole movie. So he gets really pissed off at her, and she kind of treats him badly. And then they do get stranded on an island, and then he gets his revenge basically by taking care of them by getting them food, but then that puts him in a position of power over her, so he can treat her badly and treat her like she has to serve him, and now she's his maid and all this stuff. And then for some reason they fall in love, and and then they get rescued and they can't be together because she has a husband, and then they're like, well, you're gonna leave your husband and be with me because you love me, and then she doesn't, and it's like a weird Casablanca moment at the end where she flies away in a helicopter and he can't go with her, can't get her back, basically.
Okay.
And yeah, it's apparently a remake of a 1974 Italian movie, which is interesting. And the male lead is the son of the original movie's star. I thought that was kind of interesting. But yeah, it's just a movie about rich assholes and how Madonna is rude and also inexplicably shredded. Like, she is jacked in this movie. I don't know why. Like almost female bodybuilder level shredded. It was very interesting to me. I was like, this is not the Madonna that I remember seeing ever. But the weirdest part was I couldn't understand why they fall in love. Okay. And I really hoped you watched the movie because I could ask you.
Like, please tell me.
Yeah, why do they fall in love? Because she's rude to him, and then he's rude to her, and then they have like this weird moment where he's like chasing her because he's like, you should, I don't remember how it starts, but he's basically like, you should take your top off or something, and you should do it because I told you to. And then he like chases her, and then this like leading up to the potential for a rape scene, and then he like gets her in the sand and then doesn't, and then that seems to be the moment where it clicked for her, like she stopped hating him and started liking him because he could have raped her. But he
chose
didn't.
Not to. Okay.
Yeah. And that, I guess, is what she's into, because from that point on, they were like in love with each other. It was very weird.
Is it supposed to be a comedy or?
Kind of, yeah.
Okay.
That it's kind of supposed to be like, look at how like rudely she's treating this guy, and then he treats her like a slave, which I don't find funny, but
yeah.
It's like it's a romance, more romance than rom-com, but there's a level of absurdity. I guess you could call it a comedy.
I had to see the trailer because I remember when it came out, I was working at the video store when it came out, and I remember we made fun of it pretty much relentlessly, but none of us actually sat down to watch it. And I had a moment of like, maybe I'll watch it. And then I thought, well, Jake's definitely not going to watch this one. I don't really want to watch this one. I'd rather watch something else. So that's what I did. And clearly you suffered by yourself. So I apologize. But I was just watching the trailer. There was a blip where she's singing, which you have to assume if Madonna's going to be in a movie, she's going to sing. But there was like a weird bright light coming out of her. Is that like a daydream thing that happens?
Yeah, it's
okay.
Like he's daydreaming while they're on the boat, I think.
Okay. And there were a couple shots of her in a bikini, and you're not kidding, dude. She looks kind of like, I am Madonna.
Yeah.
Grr.
Yeah. Well, she's like, I need to work out on this boat, and so he gets her a treadmill, and that's all they got for her to work out.
She gets abs from a treadmill?
I don't know. It's mostly her arms. She's just so, like, low body fat. It's weird.
Oh, okay.
But, yeah, so, I mean, the funny thing is Guy Ritchie won 5 Razzies. Worst Picture, Worst Director, Worst Actress, Worst Screen Couple, Worst Remake or Sequel. And Guy Ritchie also has said that it is shit. Because it wasn't released in the UK. And he said it won't be released here because it's shit.
Well, I can't imagine he's proud of it. It's got his ex-wife, who happens to be Vanetta.
He said that they were just trying to make a sassy little art movie, and then they got the shit kicked out of them. And it had a ton of bad press, and may or may not deserve it. But it does also earn him a very unique spot, where he's one of only 2 directors ever that have movies both in the top 250 of IMDb and the bottom 100 with this movie. The only other one is John McTiernan, who did Die Hard, Predator, and then his bad movie is Rollerball with a 3.1. See,
I saw Rollerball. That was a terrible movie.
I would rather watch Rollerball than watch this movie ever again. I'd rather watch Rollerball on repeat than watch this movie ever again.
That's
just because nothing happens. Who cares?
Right. It's just it's been a while since I watched Revolvr. I wasn't a big fan of it the first couple times I saw it, and I'm still not the biggest fan of Revolvr.
It feels, I hadn't seen it until this episode, because I just kind of felt like a generic action movie.
Yeah.
And it kind of is. But after watching Swept Away, it very much felt to me like Guy Ritchie just trying to get back on his feet, get back to what he knows, get back to something familiar, something that he can excel at. And he does a pretty good job. It feels like it tries to take Lock, Stock, and Snatch and then kind of put it in a more of a Vegas mob sense situation.
Yeah, it felt like Guy Ritchie was trying to, this will sound funny, Americanize his style.
It's exactly what I was going to say.
And I think that's what just didn't work all that great for me. Because it's like, no, dude, like, give us...
that's not what we like.
Yeah,
we don't like Americanized.
Do it in England. It's okay. Yeah. It's okay. But I agree with you. Revolvr definitely feels like a movie of, shoot, I've really bit the dust. Now I got to try and remember how to do things again, like trying to get back on that bike. Which is why it's not a surprise that Jason Statham is the leading guy in his movie. Get a familiar face.
It is a surprise to see him with hair, though.
That's true. Weird. That's true. Long hair as well.
Yeah.
Yeah, like, it's not a bad movie, but it just, you can tell his confidence as a filmmaker had to have been rattled a little bit coming off of Swept Away. Like, to have that kind of commercial and audience failure, that's going to rattle you, especially when it's so early in your career still. So
yeah, oh, absolutely.
Yeah. It's got a cool cast.
Yeah, it's got a cool cast. It does interesting things that I think make it worth watching if you like his stuff. That it's not like a pass kind of movie necessarily. There's especially an interesting part. There's a whole sequence where they do like animated versions of the scenes that are spliced in.
Yep.
That's different and very interesting and unique, I thought.
It's odd. I didn't realize this until this week, but Luc Besson, or Besson, whatever his name is.
Yeah.
He did the adaptation for it, so I guess he had a hand in making this movie. And it's funny because the parts in it that are the wackiest, like the animated splices or whatever, it makes sense when you see his name attached to it. You go, okay.
Yeah, I could see that for sure.
Because he's another director that is pretty specific in how he makes movies.
Yeah. I think it's a fun kind of, if you're into this weird relational thing, but I think it's a fun closing of the loop on... Because I think the first movie I ever saw of Jason Statham was The Transporter. And I always remember how badass that movie is. And that's a Luc Besson movie. And so for them to then kind of merge forces with Guy Ritchie and Jason Statham, that's kind of cool.
Which Transporter wouldn't have been too much farther from Revolvr.
It was right 3 years before. 2002 is Transporter.
Okay.
Revolvr's 2005, same year as Transporter 2, actually. Which Transporter 2 is kind of weird.
I would say, like, if you are a Guy Ritchie fan and you come across Revolvr, I think it's definitely worth watching. I've talked to other fans of Guy Ritchie's that have loved Revolvr a lot, and I get why they would. It's just one for me that just wasn't quite there.
I did really find Andre 3000's acting pretty good.
Yeah.
And I thought that his character was actually really interesting. I was like, I'm pretty sure that's Andre 3000 right now.
Back in the early 2000s, there was like that whole like decade where random actors or rappers specifically were like, we're going to be in movies now.
Yeah.
And you're like, okay.
Yeah. I feel like I noticed that just in Guy Ritchie's movies that we just binged. Sting was in Lock, Stock, Madonna we just talked about. Ludacris is it RocknRolla or...
Yeah,
Ludacris
it's RocknRolla.
Yeah. So yeah, it's an interesting thing. But I feel like Andre 3000's character I was more invested in and found more believable than Ray Liotta's character, honestly.
Really?
And maybe it's just because he was such an American gangster character that I was like, this is not what I'm signed up for. I signed up for Guy Ritchie, British crime thriller.
That's fair. That's fair. But
it kind of felt like it belonged in a different movie. But
RocknRolla, I feel, is like one of the underrated gems in the Guy Ritchie filmography. I know a lot of people missed it, but you actually missed a really entertaining movie. If you have not watched RocknRolla, it's a cool movie.
Yeah, it's one of those movies that I feel like I remember randomly seeing because somebody rented it at like a hangout night, and it's like RocknRolla and Smokin' Aces are the two movies. I'm like, those were just fantastic random rentals that we had.
That everyone became obsessed with after they watched it. It was like, especially Smokin' Aces. I remember that movie kind of became the new Boondock Saints, where it was like every house you went to within our age group was like, so we're watching Smokin' Aces tonight because it's the greatest thing ever put on film. Yeah, it is.
Yeah, kind of just scratched that itch 10 years later that we had been missing.
It's true. But RocknRolla, I think the cast is some of the most entertaining cast to like throw together. And it's kind of funny watching it now and being like, none of these guys are big yet. Like, this is kind of cool to see them still in their like toddler age of Yeah, it's hilarious. I think the funniest one is Tom Hardy.
Yes, yeah, I definitely agree. I think Handsome Bob is one of my favorite characters in the movie just because he's so random. You're like, that's little Tom Hardy over there.
Right, and it's actually like, that's little Tom Hardy. That's not...
Yeah, scrawnier than you remember.
That's like Star Trek Nemesis Tom Hardy. Like, he gained a little bit of weight and some muscle, but he's still pretty scrawny. He's in Star Trek Nemesis. Hard to miss.
It's such a deep pull that you just put
I
out.
know. Go me.
My favorite has to be Idris Elba and Gerard Butler working together, though.
Gerard Butler in this movie is fantastic. He gets, I mean, obviously everyone knows him, especially from 300, which is an amazing role. And he is King Leonidas. But I actually like his performance in RocknRolla way more than...
Yeah. I could see why, honestly.
He's just, I don't know, the way that he got to be like sarcastic and funny, still be the action dude who's just kind of forced to find the sun and like clean up for his boss. I don't know, I think it's a performance that more people need to see. Kind of like when it comes to Tom Hardy, you know, him as Handsome Bob is hilarious in this. And the comedy in this movie, this is one I think Guy Ritchie really like got that Snatch kind of role again, where it was like, okay, Guy Ritchie, the pity party's done, he's back. This is that movie that to me felt like that. But
yeah, for sure. It has this cadence and editing and everything much more fluid and polished.
And everyone just seems to be enjoying themselves in this movie. But that's always a big thing for me. You know that. There's plenty of scenes and plenty of moments where it's just like, you know, these guys were having the time of their life making this movie. Probably figuring like no one's going to see it, and no one did. But it's nice when you can watch it and tell that they're still proud and having fun of what they're doing. And it works so well. So
Yeah, I think Tom Wilkinson is probably my favorite character as he just is trying so hard to be like this old school crime boss, like very like demand respect and all stuff. But every situation he goes into, everyone's just kind of like ignoring him and going around him. And it's like, yeah, we don't really have to follow, like pay you anything. We don't have to follow your orders. We're just going to do our own thing. It's so funny.
The name of the guy that plays his son, it's so funny. He's like not even listed on the main. Toby Cabell?
Okay. Yeah.
That's how he's done a handful of movies, and a lot of them, looking at his filmography, I'm like, I either didn't watch it or didn't like. But then he's got the surprising ones like War for the Planet of the Apes and Dawn of the Planet of the Apes. He played Koba. And then you see him in Kong, Skull Island. He's one of those actors where he seemed to just kind of like pop up in a lot of stuff. But going back and watching him in RocknRolla as the party gun-toting son who kind of kicks kicks off all of the chaos. It's kind of fun seeing him in that one and then seeing him now.
Yeah, that's definitely interesting.
Oh, I forgot he was in Prince of Persia.
I forgot Prince of Persia was a movie that happened.
Dude, not a great movie, but that I will die on the mountain that is such an entertaining movie because it's just so ridiculous.
Yeah, I think everybody expected it to be way worse than it was, especially everybody talks about how bad video game movies are.
Yeah.
It is fun.
But it is fun.
I think that it's so interesting, the jump in quality between RocknRolla and Sherlock Holmes, because it just feels like, whoa, where did this come from? At least that's how I feel when I watch it. RocknRolla is borderline B-movie. Like you said, there's a ton of actors' faces you recognize in it, but like you said, everybody feels like they know nobody's going to watch this movie. And then you jump to Sherlock Holmes, and not only does it have Robert Downey Jr. right after Iron Man blew up, but everything about it feels way more polished than anything Guy Ritchie's ever made before. And that's just kind of the stark thing to me. It still feels very Guy Ritchie, very editing, very action, very everything. Quick, witty dialogue is phenomenal, but it is just so smooth. Like, it's kind of weird in a way.
Watching that first Sherlock Holmes in the theater, I think I'm always going to enjoy that experience and like remember it fondly because it came out with Avatar, right? Yes, that sounds
probably
right.
2000.
Yeah. And I remember I was married at the time and we were trying to figure out what we wanted to watch because both movies were out at the same time. And my wife wanted to see Avatar, and I really wanted to watch Sherlock Holmes because I had zero interest in Avatar.
Mm-hmm.
And it was a movie, we literally flipped a coin to figure out what movie we were going to watch, and we ended up seeing Avatar. And during that, I remember she leaned over to me at one point during the movie and was just like, "You hate this, don't you?" And I said, "Yes, isn't that obvious?" And it was like, I think it was maybe the next night, we went and saw...
We need to wash this crap out of our mouth.
Yeah, and...
our eyeballs.
I remember the moment Sherlock Holmes starts with that, like, the organ playing or whatever instrument that is.
Yeah, the twingy.
Yeah, and the cobblestone as the carriage is going over it. It was like an instant for me of just, I'm probably going to love this movie on a level most people won't. Like, you know, when you watch movies where you're just like, I'm going to be obsessed with this movie.
Yeah, you
Sherlock
can tell
Holmes
immediately. This is connecting with me, yeah.
Yeah, like, almost too quick out of the gate. It may have been because I was so bitter about watching Avatar in the theater, but whatever it was. But yeah, Sherlock Holmes is such a clean Guy Ritchie film, and I think he's actually maintained that level from Sherlock Holmes on out, but I think that's mainly because he proved that he could take a huge budget film with huge budget actors and deliver something worthy of watching and enjoying. That Sherlock Holmes, dude, it is so cool. Like, that movie, that's always the only word I can ever really describe Sherlock Holmes is it's such a cool movie. It's funny. It's got his style, but it's such a cool movie.
Yeah. And it definitely feels in his element, being set in London and being based on a very famous British character. But then it's also very new and different because it is heavily CG backgrounds and things. But he does such a good job with it. And then, I don't know, there's something about his style from the crime, gritty stuff we have been watching that translates so perfectly to a Gothic, Victorian, whatever period you would call that Sherlock Holmes period in history that's kind of dirty and dingy and coal covered. And it works so good. And it's so fun. I mean, he did such a good job casting Robert Downey Jr. and Jude Law as these two characters that work so well together. And then also giving us kind of a different take on Sherlock Holmes, who had always been kind of a brilliant but kind of stuffy detective, and this version is not only brilliant, but also not afraid to roll up his sleeves and fight somebody.
He's a bare buckle fighter.
Yeah.
Bare knuckle fighter.
Yeah. And fighting him in a Sherlock way where he knows, kind of analyzing before anything happens what he should do and what bones and ribs he should dislocate and things. It's like
that first fight sequence that the movie kind of opens with, when he breaks down how he's going to win the fight. That's one of those moments where, as a Guy Ritchie fan or as an action movie fan, you should be excited at that sequence, because it's the most Guy Ritchie moment in Sherlock Holmes.
Yeah.
For like, you almost can't really pinpoint why it is. You just know. Yep, there he is. This is Guy Ritchie. But it's so cool how he breaks it down in the super slow motion. And then when you see how fast it actually happens and the understanding of how Sherlock's brain operates, I think the decision to make him a fighter with the gambling and the drinking, they maintain all the characteristics that make Sherlock Holmes so great. They just added this whole other element that makes sense for him to go out seeking the violence or to seek something to keep his mind distracted or sharpened. You can argue that. It's so cool. And I love Mark Strong as the villain. When I showed my daughter the Sherlock Holmes movies, she was kind of like, I don't know, Dad. I'm like, just trust me. It's not going to be like what you think. And when everything gets explained, you're going to have a big, like, you're going to love it. And sure enough, when it ended, she was like, okay, that was cool. That was really cool. Like, I know.
Yeah, it's very impressive, and I'm glad we got a sequel, and I'm glad the sequel is as good or arguably better than the original.
I feel like
surprising.
I feel like a lot of people kind of write the sequel off, but I think it's actually really, really well done. They make some bold decisions with it, like getting rid of Irene pretty much right away. Spoiler alert.
And it's had to deliver a lot more, bringing in Moriarty as the main villain. Your expectations are higher going into that.
And he had to be formidable, and I think they did it. I think they pulled it off with making Moriarty very formidable and not afraid to pull the trigger, as you and I have stated before, where some of the best villains are the ones that actually follow through with their threats.
Yeah. Ideally before there's a big monologue about
right. They just do it.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think the Sherlock Holmes movies are a couple of the most entertaining and cool in the Guy Ritchie filmography. And I do still think and hope and wish they would make a third one, just because it would be nice to have that. I think it would give a nice kind of conclusion to it, even though it's not necessary, but it would feel nice.
Yeah, it definitely would. I was thinking the same thing, because I hadn't watched these movies for quite a while, and then just rewatching them back to back, having a little binge, I was like, this feels like I can't believe they didn't turn this into a whole series. But also, Robert Downey Jr. got very busy with the MCU and very expensive with the MCU. So that probably has something to do with it.
Which is a shame. I think a third one, they've got plenty of the material.
Yeah.
Obviously, the third one would have to be like The Hound of Baskerville, just because that's one of the most well-known of the Sherlock Holmes stories. And I think they would be able to pull it off so well, just same way that they did the first one, where it's like the idea of the mysticism or the sorcery, but the way that it would get broke down. Yeah, I have always wanted at least one more, because I think it would just be so much fun. I still can't believe, like, and now it's probably not going to happen, definitely, with Robert Downey Jr. being back in the MCU.
Not for a while, at least.
Not for a while. But
life calms down.
I can still hope. Come on, Sherlock 3. Come on, Sherlock 3.
Yeah, it would be so cool. And it is, like you said, it is so entertaining, partly because there's a lot of silliness to it as well, that it is exciting and serious, but also so silly.
Well, it kind of really reminded me of like watching The Great Mouse Detective, which I still maintain is one of the best Disney movies ever. That version of Sherlock, I feel Robert Downey Jr.'s take on him and the way that Guy Ritchie told those two movies, they remind me of The Great Mouse Detective so much. Just some of those characteristics of Sherlock. Just being such a spaz and with the costumes and man, I haven't watched Great Mouse Detective in a long time. Now I kind of want to watch it. I know.
You definitely make me want to as well, because I remember it being so good.
It's so good.
Gracepout Detective and then Rescuers Down Under was like one of my favorite underrated Disney movies.
That golden eagle, man. Everyone was like, that golden eagle was special. You know what else is special? It's the man from
The Man from U.N.C.L.E. Yeah, it really is. I was trying to figure out, why does this one stand out among all the others to me?
Yeah.
Like particularly the others,
you said
all the others
top
from that
3
era
or top
of
5.
his career.
There is something about Man from U.N.C.L.E. that I'm like, this is probably one of the most entertaining, most fun spy stories ever made. It's hilarious. It's interesting. It's intriguing. It's like, don't understand how people did not go to see this movie. Genuinely confused why no one went and saw The Man from U.N.C.L.E. Because it's... I have nothing bad to say about Man from U.N.C.L.E. Like, not a single complaint about that movie. It is perfect as it is.
It really is, and I think it is one of his best for me as well. I think partly because it pulls everything together from the cast, which is all amazing, and the story of is very exciting spy thriller, but it also has the time period, the Cold War, and the style, the clothes, the cars, the colors, everything, and the historical context is interesting. But I think maybe the weird part is that it is based on a TV show from like the 60s or 70s, and I think there's enough of that people are like, I don't know that show, I don't remember that show, fair. I don't care about that show. So you're trying to use a property that I'm not attached to. Probably would have been as successful, or maybe even more successful, if it was just a new original IP spy thriller movie that came out with the same cast. I could see that still being the case. But I think the chemistry between the cast is mostly what sells it for me, and the relationship between Henry Cavill's American spy, who's very slick with all the gadgets and the technology, and it often doesn't even work, and then Armie Hammer's rigid Russian spy with the most basic tools, but has sheer determination, and it's funny, like, seeing how Americans are kind of lazy in a way, that there's like, everything is just kind of, we don't have to worry about so much, and the Russians are like, I'm just going to power through, and like, we have to do it no matter what, or else we die, kind of thing. And then there's like German girl who's like kind of stuck in the middle with both of them. It's so fun. Whatever happened to Alicia Vikander, by the way?
I don't know.
I was watching, I was like, she blew up with Ex Machina and Tomb Raider and this movie, and there was that Light Between Oceans movie with Michael Fassbender. But I haven't seen anything about her in like, I don't know, 10 years. She's still alive?
It's been 10 years.
I don't know. That's just a guess. Can we get a wellness check on Alicia Vikander?
I'm looking her up right now. Still alive. Okay.
Okay, good.
All right.
I'd like to hear that.
Let's see here. Let's hear.
She's making movies that are 4.9, 6.3, 5.7.
Oof.
6.0, 6.0. Tomb Raider 2018, 6.3. She was in the last one. She was a voice in the Dark Crystal show that I didn't watch.
Oh, I didn't watch that show.
She was in The Green Knight, which I meant to see and didn't see. I still want to. It looks cool.
And then she's been in a bunch of other stuff that doesn't look like anyone's watched. So I don't know.
Just not getting press, I guess.
Yeah. All of a sudden, she's just not one that people are going for. That's a shame, because she's great.
Yeah, fantastic.
I really like her. And she's hilarious in The Man from U.N.C.L.E. She is so, her like relationship with Armie Hammer's character is one of the funniest will they, won't they kind of gags. Her getting drunk and doing the obnoxious dancing in the hotel room is one of my favorite parts of the whole thing. But you said it great with like the contrast between Cavill's American spy and Hammer's Russian spy. This movie to me though, like Guy Ritchie pulled out comedic performances from every character in this movie. They all say or do something that's just genuinely funny. And I think the big one, obviously, for me is Henry Cavill throwing down the comedy with his laziness and with his just like carelessness with everything.
And his like poshness, even though he's American and not British, he's like when Armie Hammer's having that whole problem in the boat and stuff, dude, and he's just having a picnic in the truck.
That is the best scene in the movie. That is a scene that I like
crack up every time I watch it.
That whole sequence, him having the sandwich, listening to the music, watching the explosion going by, and he's just like, yep, okay.
Chilling.
Just chilling. If you don't laugh at that whole sequence, like you're not watching the movie, or you're, I don't know, sad.
Yeah,
I don't know.
So fun.
Because it is so great. But even the action, though, is really cool. Like, the fight scenes come out of nowhere. They're pretty cool. They're very fast. And then you got Hugh Grant that comes on board, who he doesn't do a lot, but he does enough that makes it just, like, he adds that cherry on top almost. And then, I forget her name, but the actress that plays the villain, the super tall chick.
Elizabeth Debicki? She's the same girl from Tenet, I think.
From Tenet, yeah.
Yeah.
It's so funny seeing her in Man from U.N.C.L.E. as like the socialite terrorist. And then you watch her in Tenet and she's like the polar opposite, where she's just trying to survive.
Yeah, she's not all dressed up and fancy hairdos.
But Man from U.N.C.L.E., I think it's interesting that Guy Ritchie gave 2 movies back to back that are both highly deserving of more.
Yeah.
And neither one got them. I think that's interesting and a giant shame. I think there's a big missed opportunity there.
Yeah. Yeah. Man from U.N.C.L.E. is just like so my style of like what I would want from those kinds of movies. And I like a lot of those 60s shows. I was kind of the person that was actually familiar with that stuff because I watched a lot of TV Land and Nick at Night and stuff.
Love TV Land.
And I really enjoyed the Get Smart movie, but it was a lot sillier, and I would have actually preferred it be more dry humor, kind of like Man from U.N.C.L.E. was. If we had a Man from U.N.C.L.E. like version or style of Get Smart, that would be my dream, because I loved Get Smart so much as a kid.
We're probably not getting a sequel to that one either.
Probably not. No. And if we did, it would be more just silliness, which is fine for what it is.
Yeah.
But I guess on the topic of franchises that should probably have been, that they really, really, really wanted to be a franchise. I didn't know that King Arthur Legend of the Sword was supposed to be like the beginning of a 6-movie franchise.
Really?
Did you know that? Yes. WB had planned out this potentially massive 6-movie franchise and then killed it when King Arthur lost $150 million.
Man, I feel like Hollywood trying to get a popular King Arthur story off the ground, or a popular Hercules movie off the ground.
Robin Hood.
Well, Robin Hood, I think Robin Hood has
oversaturated,
kind of like asterisks, because they've had a couple popular ones. One's genuinely a comedy. The other one gets laughed at when it's not supposed to be a comedy, but it's still amazing, and I will die on that hill.
I was going to ask you which ones are popular, because the only one I can think of is Men in Tights.
Well, Men in Tights and Prince of Thieves, those would be your popular ones.
Not that good.
Prince of Thieves was great. I will die on that hill.
It's great in like I don't know. It's not like what it could be. And also I think it's also drowned out by the oversaturation of Robin Hood adaptations.
Yeah.
Like it seems like every couple of years, like, here's another try at a Robin Hood story.
Well, and
here's
that's
another
how
try
I feel
at a
about
King Arthur story.
Here's Hollywood going, we're going to try it again. And audiences go, oh.
Yeah, exactly. And so I never seen The Legend of the Sword, the King Arthur, Charlie Hunnam, what's his name?
Hunnam.
Human. I don't think that's it. Hunnam. I've never seen this one, and I watched it, and I was like, this is actually pretty cool, honestly. It does feel the most Zack Snyder-y kind of, and maybe just because it's the fantasy element that I've been in. My nearest adjacent Zack Snyder movie has been Rebel Moon for a while, because I haven't watched anything else lately. But King Arthur does interesting, different things with the Arthur tale, I feel like. You watch this, I assume, and know exactly what I'm talking about. Okay. I was like, why do I feel like I have no idea what I'm talking
Nope.
about? So it does feel very Guy Ritchie-y, because he has really good, cool montages. I actually like there's a whole montage where he ages up Arthur. I didn't even know, I guess, the beginning part of the story. I assume this is accurate, but he is born to a king who had the sword already, actually played by Eric Bana, which is kind of fun.
Oh, cool.
And then his dad dies, gets betrayed by Jude Law's bad guy character. I think it's his uncle. And then Arthur basically gets sent down the river in a boat like Moses, baby Moses, and then gets found and raised in a brothel and kind of becomes this king of the underworld in a way, where he's like helping these hookers stay safe and just saving a bunch of money, and just kind of becomes like this enforcer that is kind of helping people, and kind of becomes like not a crime lord like necessarily, but well known, well organized, makes friends, good relationships, things like that, but on the more nefarious side of things. And then it ends up getting taken and pulling the sword from the stone. And there's a little cameo from David Beckham, which I was watching. I was like, that is definitely David Beckham. And then I found out later that Guy Ritchie actually did a David Beckham commercial, and that's why they became friends. But the fantasy and the sorcery side of it, I thought was pretty cool and interesting and different. I think it would have been a lot cooler if it wasn't PG-13, but it does enough cool stuff, I think, that it was worth watching. And
so does it,
because I would enjoy more of it.
This was one that I really kept telling myself, like, get King Arthur watched. Like, you got to watch King Arthur.
Yeah.
And then I didn't. It was like, shoot. But because I was one of those audience members who was like, another King Arthur movie. Like, I'm not going to watch it just because it's another King Arthur movie. And I remember that terrible one with Clive Owen and Keira Knightley from like 2003 or whatever it was.
Yeah. Yeah.
And that movie was not good. So I purposely skipped this one just because I was like, it's another King Arthur movie. They're not going to, like, it's not going to be great. No offense, Guy Ritchie, but like, and then I never heard anything about it.
Yeah. It's because WB killed it, I think.
Yeah.
They're like, never mind. Don't worry about it.
But I'm assuming, so I'm looking it up and I'm kind of reading some other stuff on it that other people have been saying. I'm assuming it does not go into like when he's actually like full-fledged king with the round table. So they're like, the movie ends and he just moved in the castle. They're building the round table still. Oh, okay.
It's like 3/4 of the way done, and he's like getting his guys together.
Okay.
Yeah, it's basically like an origin story as he takes the throne, basically.
Does the Lady of the Lake at least get mentioned?
Yes.
Okay.
And it's actually really cool, that sequence where he tries to avoid being king and he throws the sword and then he kind of gets sucked down into this mud and she gives him the sword back, and it's actually really cool. Okay. So visually very cool. The story archetypes and hero stories and all that stuff. I thought it did a really cool and interesting job. I think it deserves more credit than it gets. It's not amazing or groundbreaking, and I see why a lot of people were not interested, but I thought it was cool. Asterisk. This is coming from a guy who says that Vin Diesel's The Last Witch Hunter is a cool movie. So
you do say
I
that.
thought it was a cool movie. So King Arthur, The Legend of the Sword, pretty cool movie. if you're into that sort of thing.
You do say that about The Last Witch Hunter.
Yeah.
Which I have it. It's sitting here because I was like, Jake loves this movie. And I remember finding it and being like, Jake loves this movie. I'll give it a shot. And then I was like, well, Jake loves this movie. That's pretty much where I left that one.
Yeah. I'm both complimented that my word carries that much weight and also try not to be offended that it's not enough for you to actually watch it.
No, I've watched it.
Okay.
I've watched it. Like, I told you, I have it.
Well, just because you have it doesn't mean you watched it. Okay. I believe you.
I have it. Therefore, I have watched it.
Not necessarily.
Yeah.
You've never bought something you haven't watched yet?
No.
Well, I guess I'm weird. Sorry.
Why would I buy something and not watch it?
Well, sometimes you buy things you don't get around to right away or something. I don't know. Or you know that it's probably going to suck and you mean to watch it, but you haven't yet because you can't find the time or motivation to put yourself through that, which I would understand if you didn't like.
Well, I watched it.
Okay.
And it's a movie with Vin Diesel.
Vin Diesel with a beard and the hair, kind of.
And it's a movie with Vin Diesel.
But so is Pitch Black. Pitch Black is cool.
Pitch Black is cool. That movie is cool.
Kind of like The Last Messenger.
No.
Okay. Anyway, King Arthur, that doesn't do a good job of saying that you should watch King Arthur Last Legend of the Sword. But
I still want to watch King Arthur.
all right.
Yeah, don't worry. How do we get on
The weird thing is Merlin is not really in it. There's like a mention of Merlin, and he's like kind of maintaining these group of sorcerers that still exist, but barely. But you don't see a Merlin in this one. I think they're waiting to bring him into the sequel.
I feel like that's bold and potentially part of what led to the fail. You kind of have to have Merlin when it comes to King Arthur.
Could be. There's a mage, but it's a chick.
Okay.
But she's pretty cool.
Okay.
I'm gonna stop saying that it's pretty cool. It does have Aidan Gillian, Littlefinger from Game of Thrones, so a little bit of fantasy cachet there as well.
All right. Before he was big.
Yeah, I think so.
Nice.
What was this? 2017.
Oh, so
Game of
as
Thrones
he was
on
big.
in 2017. Yeah.
Cool.
Anyway, we can move on.
Okay.
So I watched Aladdin for the first time.
Yeah.
And it seemed clear to me that when Disney gave Guy Ritchie Aladdin, they did not know that Warner Brothers was about to lose $150 million on the movie we just talked about.
Yep.
But I guess good for them that didn't happen because Aladdin made a shitload of money.
Aladdin was huge.
For some reason. I don't know how it made $1 billion.
Yeah.
Everybody shit on it when they saw that Will Smith is the genie.
Yeah.
Like the stills and the trailer and the movie itself. He looks very weird the whole time.
So there's a part of it, and no one, like, either I haven't actually asked anyone other than my daughter, but she didn't really pay attention to it when it came out like that. She's not a fan of it. She liked it when we initially saw it, but since then she's been like, Dad, I can't stand that movie. Actually, she's really turned her back against pretty much all of the Disney live action remakes, with the exception of, I think, a couple.
Yeah.
Yeah, Aladdin. So you just watched it for the first time, so you can help me with this then.
Okay, I'll try.
Because I felt like I noticed it when I saw it in the theater, and I noticed it watching it at home. But there are moments in it, like when they're during some of the song and dance numbers, especially during the song and dance numbers, where the movement seems like slightly sped up. You're nodding. Okay, you notice this too, where you're like, something's
I noticed
wrong.
a lot of weird things where I'm like, this seems wrong.
Right, like it's
partly was that. Partly was that all the songs were snippets, that they were like 30 seconds, 15-second songs. And then partly that it didn't look like Guy Ritchie's shooting, like blocking, like framing of things. It looked very much like, we're going to shoot this direction and leave space because somewhere over here we will put stuff. We will fill in the rest with CGI. But I don't really know
Yeah, you can tell it's a CGI. Like, this is a green screen film. You can tell.
Yeah. It just looks more like point the camera there, you stand about a third of the way in, and the rest of it we'll see, kind of thing. It didn't seem like Sherlock Holmes. It didn't seem like anything else that was very polished, which was weird for a movie that. So I listened to Guy Ritchie was on the Joe Rogan podcast around the time that he was doing King Arthur. And he talked about using CGI in that movie and how it was heavily CGI'd, and he called it boring but creative, which I thought was interesting. But he also talked about how that I think it was King Arthur. That movie took 3 years to make, like to write and shoot and edit and everything. Where Snatch took 9 months. It took like 3 months to write it, a month or two to shoot it, and then a few months to edit it, which is crazy to me. And I'm sure that Aladdin is the same sort of giant beast that took several years to get off the ground.
Yeah.
And then still comes out not feeling polished.
It just felt, I remember watching it in that theater the first time, and when I started noticing like the timing being just odd, because it doesn't last. It's like they're doing something and all of a sudden it felt like someone hit the fast forward button by accident and immediately hit like play. So it's like millisecond, but it's noticeable. The songs don't really work. I think my biggest gripe, I can't stand this movie. It's like, it's so much of it is so not good. And a lot of that is because they like stole the nostalgia that I was really excited for, or sequences from the original cartoon that I was like, this live action would be insane. Like this, you could make something amazing with this. And then they chose a giant parrot over a giant cobra. And
oh, I was so disappointed in that end sequence, the whole thing with this. There's no big time thing of sand.
Yeah.
There's no, like, at one point I was like, this is the finale, which means this one room rooftop scene is the throne room. It doesn't feel like a throne room at all. What are you even doing? Yeah, there were so many times in it that it felt like they tipped their hand by basically admitting that, why are we even making a live action movie when we are purposefully making choices that we know are inferior to the original animated version? Particularly so we're doing the Robin Williams episode. I've watched the Robin Williams animated version, and he has so many brilliant, iconic, like stick in your head forever improv lines, and that when that scene comes up in this movie, they purposefully don't have Will Smith redo that line and try to do something else, but it's always way worse. Like, either they're trying to subvert expectations or they're trying to like find another good thing that works. I'm like, that line doesn't work. Your actions don't work. Me caring about this genie doesn't work.
It just doesn't work. I remember not hating Will Smith because, like, how do you fill the shoes of Robin Williams?
Yeah, I don't think anyone could have done it.
I don't think anyone could have done it, which is just another notch of the, why are you bothering to remake this? I'm sure someone with some great comedy chops could have done it. Will Smith is just not the dude to do it because he still played the genie as Will Smith.
Right. It was so weird to me hearing them like talk in the way that he talks, and I'm like, that is, I don't know, just the way the phrases you do are the phrases you always do.
There was no playfulness from his genie that Williams' genie had. Yeah, he's a cartoon, so he has no bounds. But there was no playfulness. The most that they did was like the outfit changes in the desert, which just, okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, there was, you know what Aladdin kind of reminds me of? Not as bad, but definitely in the same lane, is like when M. Night Shyamalan did Last Airbender, where you're like, is your name on the movie just to have your name on the movie? Because it does not feel like your movie at all.
Yeah.
Many moments in this feel like it should have been you doing this, but it just never does. Like Aladdin escaping from the guards and running through the city. That done Guy Ritchie style could have been so cool. Like,
yeah, if it was the opening of Lock, Stock, and Two Smoking Barrels, where it's like,
right,
running and jumping and speed gating. The only part where I'm like, oh yeah, Guy Ritchie made this movie is when he gets kicked out of the window and he's flipping backwards and there's that speed gate where he slows down right before he goes in the water. I was like, oh yeah, that was the only time. Yeah, I did. And I liked the Jasmine actress. It was the only part of the movie I really liked. I liked her. Apu felt like there's no reason for Apu to even be in this movie. It just made no sense whatsoever. And part of that is the inability for the live action animated movies to animate animals in a way that's interesting and visually expressive, because that's really, the story depends on that. Those characters depend on that. And so when you do a mundane monkey doing mundane monkey things, it doesn't work at all.
At all. Yeah. Same with her tiger.
And the new songs never are as good as the original songs, and they always try to shoehorn them in. I realized I haven't seen a live action remake since Beauty and the Beast pissed me off so much, and now I'm remembering why, because Aladdin is probably my second favorite live action remake, or animated movie.
I know what you meant. And it just pissed you off even more. You're like, come on.
So pissed me off so much. Yeah. The worst part, though, the genie's fine. The genie's whatever. The worst part is Jafar. The guy who plays Jafar in the animated movie is the most maniacal, but also weirdly charismatic, evil-looking, like expressive characters. The most evil villain you could even imagine. In this movie, it's just a dude. He's a guy. He's a guy with a hat that doesn't fit. And I'm like, what the hell is going on with this movie?
He's a dude with a hat that doesn't fit.
His hat at the end is like just the weirdest big, you know what I'm saying.
I do. I loved how you reduced this character to being, he's just a dude with a hat that doesn't fit. Like, that was the best description. That was like the most petty reason to hate on a character or a movie, but it makes sense.
Yeah, it is what it is.
Yeah, Jafar is not, he's not nefarious like that that cartoon one. And my biggest gripe, I mentioned it earlier, like how could Disney be like, we have this amazing sequence that everyone knows and it affected kids. Like, it made kids nervous when they saw it, when he turns into the
when
giant
Jasmine
cobra.
Is in a hot outfit.
Yeah, well, there's that.
They didn't do that either.
They didn't do that either.
The weird thing is there is a really big snake scene in the one we just talked about.
The King Arthur movie?
The King Arthur one, yeah.
All right. So maybe Disney was like, you already got to make a big snake. Now we're doing a giant parrot that's going to fly around the city and squawk like it wishes it was a dinosaur. I hated the parrot. I was like, I'm not a Gilbert Gottfried fan, but I definitely missed his annoying sense of humor.
Yeah. Yeah, at least you disliked him for the right reasons in the animated one.
Aladdin to me is Guy Ritchie's version of M. Night's Last Airbender, where it's just like, this isn't your movie. There's something inherently wrong with this film.
Yeah, it's definitely so much not in your control.
Especially with that stupid rap, hip-hop style end credit song that they do of, isn't it? I think they sing, You've Got a Friend Like, or no, not Toy Story.
That's exactly what I was trying. I was like, that's not. You've Got a Friend in Me. You ain't never had a friend like me.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Yeah. Like.
Yeah. Anyway. But if Guy Ritchie can fund making movies like The Gentleman and Wrath of Man, I feel like you can make as many Aladdins as you want, because
but please don't.
I'm not going to see it. I'm not going to see it anymore, but I do appreciate that at least you're getting the work and you can fund really good movies instead.
Yeah, The Gentleman. What a great kind of like back to basics kind of, I feel he does, where he maintains the super polish. Like, it looks great, great cast, but it's a return to form. I really like that. That was my favorite part of The Gentleman, was like, this feels like I did the Disney thing. I'm going to do my thing now.
Yeah. Yeah, it feels like a much faster bounce back than the jump from the Madonna movie to Revolvr to RocknRolla. Like, actually, he already knew. He didn't like lose anything or have any confidences. Which, I mean, I don't even really know how he feels about Aladdin. Maybe he's like, yeah, it was whatever, or it doesn't really matter. But I think that it really was no, I know what I'm doing, and I know what I want to do, and I'm going to keep doing it. And yeah, The Gentleman is just everything that he's done great up to that point, kind of turned up to 11.
Yeah.
And everything great about Snatch, especially with how incredible that cast was. The cast of The Gentleman, with so many of the other characters that we've talked about so far coming back, like Hugh Grant and I mean, Mark Strong's and everything, but Jeremy Strong, Charlie Hunnam. But I would say Colin Farrell's probably my favorite in this movie because he's just so bizarre and wacky and hilarious.
Yeah, The Gentleman was... that was an exciting movie for me to watch. Just because it was that return to form. I was excited to see Guy Ritchie bailing on the Disney stuff, and kind of going hard back into his, like, we're going to get back to the violence. We're going to get back to the British gangster stuff.
Mm-hmm.
I still crack up that it's a movie about marijuana, because when it came out, like, in the States, you know, in America, we were legalizing weed, so it was kind of funny to see a movie get set where it's, like, still illegal and still part of the, like, the gang style stuff. That was kind of funny to me. But who knew Matthew McConaughey could play such a kind of a ruthless dude, like a super heartless guy. I love his performance in this movie.
It's such a cool character, and he plays it so slick. And that's probably my favorite thing about The Gentleman, is it feels like everybody is very slick. It ties in the very old English, you know, tweed sport coat with, you know, leather patch elbows with weed and hipsters, and like it is very modern, but also kind of ties in the older style crime kingpin level. Like you feel like he has these chateaus, he has these fjords and stuff that he's growing marijuana on.
The Gentleman is like Guy Ritchie's Godfather. Like,
yeah,
it really is. It really is. You don't mess with McConaughey's character. You definitely don't mess with his wife.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, some of the guys on his crew aren't exactly the brightest, but some of them, like, I actually really like Charlie Hunnam.
Yeah.
Yep.
We'll go with that.
Sure. I actually really like him in this movie. I've never been the biggest fan of his stuff, but I really like him in this one because he plays the henchman so well, where he's not like a dumb henchman. He's just a kind of like matter of fact, like right hand guy. And I really like that. I think he played him really well that way. But yeah, it is kind of cool that Guy Ritchie delivered this story, because it still does feel like his Godfather, not a remake of it, not trying to be. He just kind of made it, and it works so well.
Yeah, I definitely agree. And then Wrath of Man is one I hadn't seen either, because I thought it was just a generic action movie, but I was very impressed with it. It wasn't anything that I thought it would be, really. I thought it was just a generic Jason Statham action movie.
I completely forgot about Wrath of Man and Operation Fortune. Completely forgot about both of them.
Oh yeah.
I was like,
as in didn't watch them?
I didn't get it. No, I told you I failed you on this one.
It's okay. I would highly recommend Wrath of Man if you're going to rewatch or watch for the first time any of them.
That one, like, I've always heard really good things about it, but it was just one that I completely,
Yeah. Yeah, I feel like it's definitely one of those movies that is, whether it's the poster or just the time it came out or whatever, it feels like just a generic. Also, Jason Statham has put out several generic action movies that I think it just kind of falls in that category. But I think it's very different. It's very cool. It's kind of actually a unique anti-heist revenge movie where he joins a cash truck crew to try to find, there's a group of people going around and busting and robbing crash trucks. And so he joins a crew that drives a crash truck to protect it. And because one of those robbers killed his son.
Okay.
And so he has trying to find them and extract revenge from them. But then there's just really interesting things that happen that you don't see coming. It's broken up into kind of chapters, which I always find interesting, and has little chapter titles that you find out later what that means. That's really cool. Really good cast. And you feel like you can always tell how good a Guy Ritchie movie is going to be by the opening credit sequence. He does such a good one. Some of them are not good, like Aladdin, but The Wrath of Man particularly has a really good title sequence.
All right.
And has some classic Guy Ritchie writing, because there's one line where he says, "Dave, you just have to worry about putting your asshole back in your asshole and leave this to me." And there's a line that only Jason Statham could deliver. So yeah, it's. I didn't know it was a remake of a French movie from 2004 called Le Conveyor, but it's a really cool movie. Definitely, if you like revenge movies, which I know that you do,
Yep.
I would highly recommend Wrath of Man. And it also, I think, just goes further than some of his other crime movies do, as far as kind of the consequences of the story. So it's really cool. And then you didn't see Operation Fortune either.
No.
Operation Fortune is a movie that a lot of people didn't see because it got delayed for ages.
Well, I remember it was a COVID movie, right?
It was a COVID movie, and then I think that it got delayed so much because the bad guys are Ukrainian, and then Hollywood was like, Ukraine is perfect, and they haven't done anything wrong, and we need to support them no matter what. And so they couldn't release that movie because the bad guys are Ukrainian. But then that did eventually come out. I think it came out to streaming, maybe to theaters a little bit, but not really. It was just stuck for a long time. I thought it was bland when I first saw it. I remember being like, I'm not interested at all. I rewatched it though, and I liked it more. I thought it was a little more fun. I liked Aubrey Plaza's character a little bit more. And Josh Hartnett's character a little bit more. I thought that they were fun. It does, I think, rely on Jason Statham being Jason Statham-y a little bit too much, but there are also some really cool action sequences that are kind of different. One where he's like, the camera's like looking down the sights of the gun and stuff. It was pretty cool.
Okay.
And Hugh Grant's great as the villain. So seeing him come back for that. It's always fun watching like the little hops from like through the movies of, oh, you started working with
right.
Hugh Grant. Now he's going to be in the next 3 movies.
I think it's hilarious how a bunch of the directors have like, they all do this with their kind of core couple actors or actresses.
Mm-hmm.
You know, Scorsese's probably the most famous to reuse. Mm-hmm. We've brought up a bunch. He's reused Bruce Willis numerous times. It helps when you write like a whole trilogy for Willis, but
yeah, he's the same character.
But it is funny to see Guy Ritchie really does. He kind of treats this stuff like Adam Sandler, where like he just knows his friends. Mm-hmm. Like, we work well together. We're gonna make a movie together. That's how we're gonna do it. I like that. I like that. Yeah,
I think so too. I think I would like this movie more if Man from U.N.C.L.E. didn't exist. I think that there's so much overlap between the team dynamic and Aubrey Plaza being part of the team and just the thriller, spy thriller. They're all trying to. It also shares a lot weirdly with Mission Impossible, and there's a lot of things I'm like, which movie came out first? Because this scene feels like Mission Impossible, like either Rogue Nation or Dead Reckoning or whatever.
Interesting.
But it's fun enough and a pretty good time that I don't think you'd be sad if you watched it. But have you seen The Covenant?
No.
You're just waiting for us to talk about Ministry of Ungentlemanly Warfare, aren't you?
No, like The Covenant. So I set out and prepped for this episode. Like I told you, I got caught up in going back to his beginning, rewatching all of that stuff, watching all of the Robin Williams movies, and then overkill on watching new stuff. I have The Covenant. It's just sitting there. So you brought up, like, why do you have something that, like, you haven't watched?
Do have
That's
a movie
the
you
one.
haven't watched.
But I was trying to save face. I can't save face. But I know, like, I know this one. You talk about The Covenant a lot, that you really, really like this movie. Like,
it's just surprised me so much that it is one of the 2 movies, well, I guess if you count Aladdin, 3 movies, one of the 2 movies that doesn't feel like a Guy Ritchie movie. Swept Away with Madonna would be the other one. But with Swept Away, it didn't work for whatever reason. With The Covenant, it does work. It doesn't really feel like a Guy Ritchie movie, but it is a very straight well-played war movie, where Jake Gyllenhaal is deployed and he has this translator, and then he kind of gets stranded and depends on the loyalty of this translator to help him and save him. And it ultimately becomes kind of a story of dads, because then Jake Gyllenhaal gets out, but the translator's still there, and he needs to find a way to get back, leave the comfort of home, and because he owes this man and owes his family, and goes and helps him get out. The action is cool. Jake Gyllenhaal's good, and overall, I think The Covenant is the least Ritchie feeling, but still among Ritchie's best movies.
Yeah, I remember the trailers for it and being really intrigued, because it didn't strike me as a normal Guy Ritchie film. Like, it struck me more of like, oh, it's like drama. Like, it looks straight war drama, where humor is pretty much stripped away and doubtful to have the usual kind of cuts that Ritchie's known for doing. And then hearing you talk about it, yeah, it's one that I've like, I really have to watch Covenant. I really have to watch Covenant. And then I was like, I didn't watch The Covenant.
It's okay. Now you have to look forward to it.
I'm just letting Jake down like crazy. But it's one that I like, if we weren't recording so late at night, I would probably try to watch before going to bed, but that ain't happening.
Yeah. Put on the list for tomorrow.
I'm sorry I failed you, Jake.
It's okay. At least we get to talk, I guess, close out, because when neither of us watched Fountain of Youth. No. Close out talking about one of your favorites. I know. Ministry of Ungentlemanly Warfare.
Dude. Again, like, this feels like my opinion is the same as with Man from U.N.C.L.E, with the exception of we don't need a sequel to this one, because it's a rounded story. But Ministry of Ungentlemanly Warfare, it really does still remain my favorite movie of 2024. It was just the most entertaining, enjoyable movie for me. I think Guy Ritchie, like, it feels like Guy Ritchie. The humor is Guy Ritchie. You can tell just the joy that everyone is clearly having. I think it's one of the funnest stories to get told too, especially coming on the heels of everyone thinking that Henry Cavill was going to be the new James Bond. And then he kind of was. Like, he played the guy that
kind of
inspired
the first James Bond. Yeah, if complete with Ian, what's his face?
Fleming. Yeah.
Fleming.
I just, Ministry was just like, I think my favorite thing about Ministry was there are so many moments in the movie where it could have turned and become like your typical war film. It could have turned and been like super sad. It could have gone that real dark route. And it probably would have been all right.
Yeah.
But oddly enough, I think the fact that it leaned and maintained so heavily into kind of the absurdity of the whole mission, the absurdity of these characters, these men, and the fact that this was a real mission that happened just kind of elevates the like craziness of the whole thing. Yeah. Especially when, you know, like at the time that the events of this movie are happening, like bad things are happening on the, you know, like, right, so to have a story that I don't want to say is lighthearted, because it was still like, if you're captured, you're dead. If you're shot, you're dead. Like, you are alone in enemy territory. But the fact that they maintain just the like, nope, we're just delivering an entertaining story.
It's kind of fun. It's fun in a rebellious way.
Yeah.
Where they're like, even though all this really horrible stuff is happening and there's these crazy dictators all over the world, fuck that. Like, we don't have to deal with any of that. Yeah. And we're just going to completely resist it. We're going to go against the rules of war and do whatever we want to, because we have to.
Like, it's such a punk rock kind of movie. It's such a kick to the balls style movie to me, of like, normal, I guess, movie making, war movie making, these men, even, you know, and you got to include Churchill and his team that were behind it all. They are all included in it. Like, yeah, it was a total, we're not gonna if we're going to achieve this, we have to break some rules. So guess what we're going to do? We're going to break these rules.
Yeah.
And you have to be happy they broke the rules.
Right.
Like, they destroyed the supply chain. So
they did the right thing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
There's just everything about this movie to me is just same level as like Man from U.N.C.L.E, Snatch, Lock, Stock, just because the enjoyability of it, the entertainment of it, the way he tells the story, the characters, the way they're all fleshed out, where it doesn't have to be a character study. They give you just enough so you know exactly what you need to know. And it's a 2-hour wonderful film. I love this movie so much. It's kind of ridiculous.
Yeah, it's such a fun time. I feel like I think like Ungentlemanly Warfare and The Gentleman, maybe it's the gentlemanly nature of things, fits Guy Ritchie so well. And I think caps of what he's done so far as the peak that he's reached is just he makes movies for that you want to look up to in a way that's like these are these men's man kind of movies. Like they got the cool coats, they got the cool guns, they got the cool like.
I was just thinking right
ass.
when you started saying that, Jake, I was like, oh my gosh, Guy Ritchie he has taken the mantle of making guy films. Like,
yeah,
they're movies made for dudes. They just are.
Yeah. And I guess maybe I miss that because we don't have Arnold and Stallone and Van Damme and all of these guys doing it anymore. And so, but we do have this, and this is great. And so I love it.
I had not thought of it until you just said that. Jake, that is a great, like, no wonder we enjoy his movies. He makes movies for dudes, and we kind of need that.
Yeah. Yeah. And the good ones, they always have these cool shoot 'em up scenes where people are getting, or things are getting eviscerated by machine guns, and which is so interesting that he's like British and they don't generally care for guns, but he kind of gets it, I think.
Well, he also, you know what else he's really good when he does is like the shoot 'em up scenes or the big gunfight scenes. They're never like perfect.
Yeah.
Like everyone firing the weapon, it kind of isn't that great at it. They're just firing away. I think some of the violence in Ministry, they're probably more skilled because they're all military guys. But even then, it's, you've got Alan Richardson killing dudes with a knife in a submarine.
Yeah.
Like, it's not pretty. It's pretty gross.
And he's so huge.
He's huge, right?
He's huge. It's like his forearms. I'm like, oh my gosh, that guy's big.
It's so big. I'm definitely on the, like, if James Gunn ends up casting him as Batman, I'm okay with that. I think that'd be a good pick, honestly.
I'd be super into that.
But yeah, I think Guy Ritchie, even with the stinkers, as we can call them, I feel like we can still forgive movies like Aladdin or Swept Away because he does deliver unique films. They're highly entertaining. I really do believe he is a filmmaker who does strive to make something that the audience will actually want to enjoy. And I really respect that. I think that's why he's just one of the best for me, is like, he knows what he wants to make, and he has really stuck to that for the most part, with the exception of when those Disney dollars are screaming at him.
Hard to resist. Yeah.
But yeah,
I think for me, it was interesting hearing him talk about that on that Joe Rogan episode, because he doesn't talk about movie making a lot. They mostly talk about injuries and jujitsu and
he's like a
food
black belt or something like that.
Yeah, he's like a black belt in Brazilian jiu-jitsu and judo and some other thing. Yeah, he's crazy. But he did talk about storytelling, and I think most people would not think, watching a lot of his movies, that he thinks of the storytelling and the characters and the meanings of the things that they do as deeply as he does. But I think that it comes across in his movies, even if it's not on the surface and not the obvious part of the story that you're watching, that why you're watching it and why it's connecting with you is working because he's thought it through, and he's done a really good job of putting it together and writing it, even though he doesn't write all of his movies. The ones that he writes, I do think are the stronger ones. And so I think, yeah, for me, he's one of the best and one of those directors that when I see a movie coming out from Guy Ritchie, I'm like, oh, I will probably see that, as opposed to other directors where I'm like, well, we'll wait and see kind of thing. It's like, well, it's a Guy Ritchie movie. I'll probably see that regardless. As long as I can remember it came out and it's not like The Wrath of Man where I'm like, that was a Guy Ritchie movie? Or Aladdin. I didn't even know Aladdin was a Guy Ritchie movie until like 4 weeks ago.
Nice. Yeah. Well, and then you saw the newest news for him, because normally this would probably be the moment where we were going to be like, we're really excited to see what he's about to do.
Mm-hmm.
But he is no longer attached to directing. What was it, the Once Upon a Time?
No, the Roadhouse.
Or the Roadhouse, yeah, Roadhouse
sequel.
2. He's no longer doing that.
He was going to take over the Roadhouse Jake Gyllenhaal movie, and then he decided, no, I'm not going to do that.
Yeah.
That's interesting. So he has a movie coming out supposedly this year called In the Gray, which looks really interesting. Has Henry Cavill and Jake Gyllenhaal and Isaac Gonzalez and Rosamund Pike and Fisher Stevens. That would be really cool whenever that comes out, whatever it's about. I don't really care. But then he also has Aladdin 2 on the list here.
Yeah, that one's weird, right? I thought that got scrapped because Disney just officially got rid of like 3 live action sequels. I thought that was one of them, but
yeah, I know that Tangled was one.
I think that one's back on now.
Is it? Oh.
Yeah. Since Lilo and Stitch was such a juggernaut for
big
him.
One. Yeah. Yeah, I know they're doing another Lilo and Stitch movie too. And then he has apparently he liked working with Rosamund Pike because she's also going to be in Wife and Dog with Anthony Hopkins and Benedict Cumberbatch, which whatever that is probably will be interesting too.
I like that when you click on it, it just literally says, "Do you know what this is about?"
Don't ask me. I'm asking you, IMDb, what is this about?
We rely on you.
Yeah, why do you think I have this information? I do really want to watch MobLand. I've heard from a lot of people, including Zach Alexander on Instagram. He reached out and was like, dude, have you seen MobLand yet? And I was like, fudge, no, I'm doing a Guy Ritchie episode. I really need to watch MobLand. And then I watched the other 2 shows I mentioned instead. So I need to, and I want to. I've heard it's really, really good.
Now, he
created it. He directed 2 episodes at least of it.
He created it? He's not listed as created by.
Okay, he
just
didn't
directed.
create it, but he did. He is attached as a name that people will know for things like this, British crime thrillers. He directed at least 2 episodes of it. Maybe wrote some of it too. But yeah, Tom Hardy, Pierce Brosnan, British mob. How could you go wrong with that?
Helen Mirren's in it?
Mirren, apparently. 10 episodes, yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, that seems really cool, but I'll get around to it, promise.
Eventually.
So yeah. There's Guy Ritchie. Let us know what you think. Anything we missed, anything we got wrong. I feel like you can... What was your hot take that you said? Someone's got to give you crap for your hot take about... Oh, Sinners.
Yeah.
What the hell Dustin White is wrong about Sinners?
I don't know. The vampires in From Dusk Till Dawn are way more entertaining. I'll say that.
It's fine. Yeah, I feel like as much as people have talked about it, I need to watch it, so you'll hear my thoughts at some point about Sinners as well. Probably when it comes to streaming, because I'm not.
It is streaming.
To the theater.
That's how I watched it.
Probably right now, as soon as for tomorrow.
Don't watch it right now. It's like 2.5 hours.
It is honestly my wife's most anticipated movie of the year because she really likes vampire stuff. So I will watch it as soon as it shows up on our Plex server. All right. I think that's all we got for here.
Cool.
I don't think so. Look forward to James Fryman as the Teenage Film Slide next week. Or next time, I mean. We'll see you guys next time.
The late and great Robin Williams. Oh, woohoo! So, yeah.
Late and great. R.I.P. Yes.
Okay.
All right.
Thank you, everybody.
See you guys next time.